We are super excited to be partnering with Amy Hay of Sell Beef Direct tonight. She does an amazing job of helping farmers sell direct to consumer. And I know it is Sell Beef Direct, but whatever you are selling, she can help you. And so we are very excited to have her on tonight. If you are not familiar with Chop Local, we do like to chat a little bit about that here at the beginning. So we are an online farmers market specifically for meat. So if you're looking for a place to be able to sell your products online, we'd love to talk to you. And in addition to that, we offer lots of educational resources, free and low cost ones. And in the past, we have always shared that those are available at sell.choplocal.com, but we have recently been making a switch. And so all of those resources are now available at choplocaluniversity.com. And then, of course, all of these webinars are available on our YouTube page. So with that, I will go ahead and pass things over to Amy. If you didn't hear us talking there at the beginning, the Q&A box is open, so feel free to type in your questions and get those submitted as we go along, and we will be sure to answer them. So with that, Amy, I will pass things over to you.
Awesome. So hi everyone. I can't see or hear you, so I'm just gonna go for it. So this is based on using social media to really capture leads and drive traffic to where you want it to go. It's something that is super easy and it's free. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background of who I am. My husband and I are first generation ranchers. We only started ranching full time in 2018. We gave up our jobs. My husband has a little bit more farming experience than I do. He's from New Zealand, and he helped his granddad out on a sheep ranch. We both come from the maritime and yachting industry. And if you can hear it in my accent, I am from Scotland and he is from New Zealand. And we literally chose Canada because it is halfway between both. It was picked somewhere that is, like no one could accuse us for favoritism. And we picked British Columbia, Canada. My husband was chief engineer on big luxury mega yachts, privately owned yachts, and he was the chief engineer. And we met when I was designing and installing the satellite communications for the yacht that he worked on. I'm an engineer. I have a master's in business. And during that past life, I was headhunted twice as being the highest performing sales director in my industry, having both an engineering and a business background. And it's this experience and this knowledge and practicality that kind of lends itself to the success of our ranch and what I try and teach all the farmers I work with. So the history, a little bit of history, is that we almost lost our ranch. So we gave up our careers. We had a small 6 acres on the coast of British Columbia. And we remortgaged that with an agricultural lender to purchase the ranch that I'm sat in now. So for a little while, we carried 2 mortgages. The property market took this massive dive. The bank got nervous that the amount of money they lent us, the properties didn't cover anymore. So they wanted to cut their losses and foreclose. And it was like, holy crap, we just gave up everything to make this work. So it was go big or go home. And it was selling direct was the only thing that we were going to do. So selling direct literally saved our ranch. It was looking around to see if there's any help out there. And I'm not going to name any names, but the only other people that I found in this space, I thought, yes, you can help us, wanted at that time $16,000. And it was like, oh, no way. Like, I'm going to lose my farm and my home, and I have 3 young kids. There's no way I can afford to pay you money when there's no guarantee it works. So I bought this book here, Sabri Subi, Sell Like Crazy. He's amazing. He's Australian. And it helped me kind of target a direct market better. But we sold beef, like we were selling 4 head a month, 6 head a month, 8 head a month, to the point where I went over our bank's head to their head office in Saskatchewan and said, look, I'm bringing in $50,000 revenue a month, and you still won't accept this as income. To which they kind of went, okay, we believe this works. And they halted proceedings, and they actually settled, I should say, because they went back and took away a lot of what we owed them, which was amazing. But that was just like a story in a little bit of history of why we do what we do. The secret of our success is social media. I honestly truly believe that. Back in 2021, we were not using Instagram at all. It was something that I didn't even have. I didn't even have an Instagram account. My husband did, and that's the one that we use, which is why it's his face because it's verified. But I just assumed it was a photo sharing app, and when you dive into it more, it actually has 3 times the reach of Facebook. Um, and more people in businesses are turning to Instagram to grow their business, because it is a free sales funnel, if you know what one of them is, and lead generating machine. Like if you think of a funnel like this, and here's your sales. Oops, help if I could spell. I was trying to write salsa by the look of it. Sales up here is social media, and this is where you capture all your leads and you bring them down the funnel until they purchase. That is how important and how powerful social media is. Um, and I think everybody should be using it. Um, your story sells. That don't think that your life is boring, or don't think that nobody is going to want to hear about what you do or your daily life. They really do. If you think of your customer as somebody who works in a cubicle and they drive an hour in rush hour to sit at a cubicle and an hour in rush hour back, they want to kind of look at your life where you're working cattle and you're riding a horse, or you're working with lambs and sheep or piglets. Like they want that. They think it's romantic, and they can be part of that by purchasing your meat. So your story really does sell. And then something that I'm going to go into in a little bit more later down in this presentation is nuance. That the tone of your voice and the tone of your marketing, whether that is a post or a caption, really makes all the difference to somebody stopping on your page or on your post to purchase and someone scrolling past. So we go into all of these in a little bit more detail in the next few slides. So as I said before, social media is a free sales funnel and lead generating machine. There's something like 4 billion users on social media, and you only have to attract a few hundred. I mean, that's how massive it is. And it is such a powerful tool, and it is free. You don't need to spend a fortune on ads when you can do it all for free. It just takes a little bit more time. But once you kind of crack that code, it's easy. Social media builds a pipeline of leads and sales, and leads turn into customers. Social media builds a connection with your customers that you don't get in emails. So what I mean by that is if you're just posting ads and you're generating a cold email list, and then you're bombarding your email list with, you know, information and purchase this and purchase that, or people are unsubscribing, they don't get that connection. Whereas if you're building that audience on social media and they see your face and they hear your voice, it's very like being at a farmer's market and interacting with your customers, but on a much larger scale. And social media really is a business channel and a powerful business tool, not just an app to waste time on. It's how to use it correctly. So your profile is super, super important. It is the thing that people see first. And I'm going to optimize your profile. So I have some instructions, and I have 2 examples of profiles from people in our free group. We went through a live, and I just kind of picked 2 to go through just now. But I'm going to show you how to optimize your Instagram profile so that you can go away and make sure that your profile is capturing leads. There's a statistic that if you have 1,000 followers, you should be able to make $1,000. That if everyone was to give you $1, every follower was to give you $1, that is what you should be able to make. So if you have 55,000 followers, you should be able to make $55,000. And you might think that's impossible, but it really isn't. So these are the 5 things that you need on your profile. And I will go through these on the next few slides and kind of give you examples. But your profile, it's like an elevator pitch. And the old elevator pitch, I think, was 2 minutes. You literally have 3 to 7 seconds for someone to think if they should follow you or look at your profile in more detail, or whether they should just keep on scrolling. 3 to 7 seconds. Now that's whether they're landing on one of your reels or posts or hitting your profile page. That's how much time you have to capture them. So it is super important to get all of these things right. Number 1 is a good profile picture. It should be clear. Even better if it has your face on it. Smiling, no sunglasses, something super clear on a solid background, or something that's easily recognizable. Or if you have a brand like your freeze brand or your hot brand, you could use your brand or your logo. Don't just have a picture of a cow's head, or don't have a picture of like something that's too busy. It should be something that's super recognizable, and easy to recognize and easy to kind of make that connection. If you have more than one platform, if you're on TikTok and if you're on Instagram and if you're on Facebook and if you're on Pinterest, your profile picture should be the same across all platforms, so that you're kind of starting to build a brand for yourself. The next thing is a searchable name, and I will go into this in the next couple of slides, but the name field on Instagram, a lot of this is all based on Instagram because that really is where the money is, but you would link Instagram and Facebook. But your name field on Instagram is the only field that has SEO. And SEO, if you don't know what it means, it's search engine optimization that websites have, and so does your profile name. So if you are going to go into a search bar on Instagram or on Facebook or into Google, the name field is the only field that is indexed, and it's the only field that would appear in a search. So you need to make sure that whatever you're selling appears in that name field. And I do have some examples. A call to action and a hook in your profile, these can be the same thing. In reels and posts, they are 2 completely separate things. But what they are is a call to action is what you are telling your customer to do. So if you have a link on there, so you must have a website link, your call to action would be click my link. You're telling them to click your link. But if you add a hook in there, like 10% off, click below. So the 10% off is the hook, and the click below is the call to action. So you are telling people what they have to do when they hit your profile. And don't discount that. Like if you are in that hypnotic zone and you're scrolling and scrolling, when someone gives you an instruction, you're really more likely to follow it. So that's the 5 things that you need to optimize your Instagram profile. These are ours. These are
Okay.
old now, but
Sorry, Amy. Okay,
Mhm.
so I'm working on mine right now for Chop Local University. Like I'm following along, like you said. So the name part is like, um, there's a username, but then there's the name, and the SEO part is the name one, right?
um, so this here,
Mm-hmm.
that is the name field. That's
Okay.
got
Okay.
it's the one that is bold. It's the
Okay.
bold field. So it's not your handle, which is this one.
Okay. I think
That's
that's your
also
username in the, okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. So it's this name field here.
Okay. I have another question. Do you ever put the location and toggle that on in the profile? I know it takes up room in the profile, but for local farmers, does it make sense for people to find them in their local area?
I put it here.
Ah, okay, so that it's searchable.
Searchable, yeah.
That makes
Um,
sense.
like
Okay,
if you deliver nationwide, like if you ship nationwide, then I would maybe put American beef, or and then in your description you could put ship everywhere, or contact us for shipping, or ship to 40 states. Like you could put that in here. But like if your location, like you might put grass-fed beef Nebraska or grass-fed beef California, and you put it in that searchable string. So if I'm living in those places and I'm like, oh, I want to see if anyone local to me sells beef, and I'm going to search beef California. I'm not going to search beef USA. I'm going to dial down and then go out. So I stick it in there.
awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this one is Facebook. This one is Insta. So we only ever had Facebook. Like we started our Facebook account, I think, when we bought this ranch. So we started it, I think it was December 2018. I started a proper ranch Facebook page because I'd never had Instagram. I knew nothing about it. And we kind of used some of the local groups and started growing a following. Like I think our Facebook now is up to almost 5K, but that's taken us 6 years to grow. I started so this was in 2018. I started our Instagram in October 2021. And it's just grown so much more. And it was when we really embraced Instagram that we jumped from doing 8 head a month to doing 15 head a month, and then 20 head a month, which is where we've kind of stopped. But it was Instagram that I truly believe facilitated our growth, because I was able to reach a super motivated audience. So these are just some examples that I've taken that we will go through. I thought they're pretty good examples. So this one, so this field, is it bolded? So this field here is the name field. And this is the one that has SEO. And you can see it just says Stony Meadows Farm. So there's nothing in there that says, like if I'm going to be searching for pork, that account would not turn up. So you are losing people who are actively searching for you. Having it in here is fine, but it's kind of redundant because by then you've not appeared in any kind of search. I also really like having, like, you see, I have little emojis for every bullet points. It kind of draws your eye. Like if you just have a block of text, your brain kind of switches off. And even though this is bullet points, nothing there jumps out at me. Like I would put, I mean, it might just be a square, like a colored square. You could put anything here just to kind of make that stand out more. But I would have Stony Meadows Farm, pastured beef, pork, and chicken. Like I would put something in there. Family farm established 1972 is fine. Second generation is also fine. And they could also, everything else is okay, but there's no hook. Like this is gonna kill anything. Like I don't know anyone who clicks more. So you really want to make sure everything fits in that space without having more. Like there's no more on ours. It's just there. So you kind of have to play around with your profile. You go into edit profile and kind of play around with it, and do it on a phone. Don't do it on your desktop. But they're missing. There's no CTA and no hook. So they have 2 links there, but what are those links and why do I want to click them? There's nothing there that appeals to me. Like, so I've probably scrolled on past. They have made changes now, but this is just to try and show you and illustrate how important this profile is. The next one, Ella's Prairie Meats. This is much better. They do have meat in there. So I know that they're doing meat, but this also, I mean, is it a butcher? I have no idea. Just by that name, like I have no idea what that is. So I would put I would have put Ellis Prairie Meats and then something and then grass-fed beef. It'll fit, but I would put something else there. This is your account type. You should choose entrepreneur because that means you can get all the trending audio, but toggle it off. Like that little toggle symbol that's like this, you want to toggle it off so that it doesn't appear there because it is taking real estate. And then it's a run-on sentence. I wouldn't have that. I would have grass-finished beef, and then the next line, prairie to plate. The next line, regenerative ranch, Texas. Like I would even put up in here, I would probably put Texas. So that's how you kind of can model your profiles to really hit home as soon as someone lands on it. And these are just super simple things. Something that isn't in any of the slides, but I would recommend that you have a business account, not a creator. I think now they call it professional, not business. It's the same thing. But I would do business account, not creator. And then when you go into edit profile further down, that's where you link it to your Instagram. So, sorry, you link it to your Facebook. So you would have your business accounts, Instagram, linking to a business page on Facebook. And then every time you post on Instagram, it'll automatically post to Facebook as well. Or you can schedule things inside Meta, which takes all that pain away. That scheduling things, you don't have to be online 24/7. You batch them, schedule them on a Sunday evening for like the next 2 weeks. But I always do reels inside Instagram and then share to Facebook. Instagram prefers it that way. So nuance. This is what I mean by nuance. So you're creating content, amazing. You're really using Instagram to try and attract customers, but there's a right way and a wrong way to display your posts. And what I mean for that is do not sell on Instagram. That might seem really counterintuitive, but do not sell. Instagram is where you give value. So you're giving value by the information you post. You're giving value by posting recipes. You're giving value by educating your customer base on the industry, on cattle, on livestock, on the environment. You're giving value. You don't want to be super salesy. So for example, you have your ideal customer, you have your saying like you have a reel and it's all buy my beef, like, or you've got a post with a beef box or a beef bundle and it's buy my beef. Picture this, I'm going to set the scene. So I am your ideal customer. I am a carnivore. Forget that I'm a rancher. I'm a carnivore. I literally eat beef breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I would be your ideal customer. But if your post is just buy my beef, and I've just been to Costco, my freezer is full, nothing about that post is going to grab me because you're not answering any questions I have, or you're not, attracting that inner voice of mine. You sell beef, my freezer is full, ergo, I do not want your beef. But if that post said something like, are you a carnivore? Did you know buying in bulk is cheaper than buying individual cuts? And then you maybe went into, what cuts are inside a quarter, or maybe an eighth if you do an eighth. You would have stopped my scroll and I would have been, well, when all this is gone from Costco, I'm going to give them a call, or I'm going to look them up, and I might have put in my email address. So because you were talking to my internal voice, I stopped that scroll. Whereas just telling me that I have beef for sale, it doesn't. And you can ask me questions on that afterwards, but that is what the nuance of your marketing means. You just have to kind of turn things slightly on their sides. Another example I like to give when I'm doing calls is, again, me, I'm a carnivore, for example, or me, a younger me, and I'm 27 and I'm 23 weeks pregnant and I'm craving pickles and ice cream. Even though I love beef, I'm craving pickles and ice cream. I see your post for beef and it turns my stomach and I don't want it. But if that post said, did you know you get all the nutrients needed for a healthy pregnancy from eating steak or eating red meat or having, I would have put down my pickles and ice cream and clicked because I want what's best for my child. So again, it's changing the nuance of your marketing. You want to talk to that inner person. You don't want to just sell beef. So I hope that makes sense. Like, there are lessons, hours of this inside the course that I do. So I'm literally just trying to condense it to give you a brief example. But we do go into so much of this inside all my offerings, from the tiny little course to the full course. So these are Canva templates that I do share. And these are kind of things that have made me money. Like, these are posts that they're not even reels. These are posts that I post on our ranch page and they always bring in sales. So I'm not saying buy my grass-fed beef. I'm saying where to start buying grass-fed beef. Like, people sometimes don't know how to go about buying from a ranch. And it wasn't my ranch specific. It was any ranch. Like, it was, if you want to buy grass-fed beef, then look at this. And then as you went through the carousel, I went into how to start. But then the last page was, and if you're in British Columbia, link in bio, which is now obsolete. Now I would be comment buy beef, but on the last page, it guided them to me. But nothing in there was saying buy my beef. This one was actually, we got, normally our butcher packages the organs per carcass. So if someone orders a quarter cow, there's already a quarter share of organs with it, and we just hand them the bags. This month, I don't know whether there was a mistake made, and we just got a bag of organs. So I had like 10 cows worth of organs, and I did not know what to do with them. So the hook is 4 ways to benefit from grass-fed beef in the most nutrient dense way. And then the next slide, like when you slid across, went organs. And it was in a big kind of like explosion. And then it had a recipe for liver pate, and then it had pictures of my kids eating it. And then it had a recipe for steak and kidney pie. And then it had a recipe for tongue tacos. Like, if you've never tried tongue tacos, get your head around it, because they are amazing. My kids now beg me to make tongue tacos. And then heart. I haven't actually tried heart yet, but I've heard roasted is almost like a tenderloin. So I did this, it was 10 pages about how to buy grass-fed and finished beef in the most nutrient dense way. And then on the very last page, it was, I have organs for sale. So they'd gone through all those pages and I sold out of organs. This one is, again, this is the hook. Is meat really the enemy? And when we're hearing so much about red beef causes cancer, and red beef will make you fat, and red beef, red meat is the enemy for everything. This was, is meat really the enemy? And it was comparing things, like proteins and amino acids and fat content and nutrient density and satiety within this post. So it was aiming at anyone. I wasn't selling meat, but again, that last page was, and if you're in BC, look me up. Like, if you're in BC, comment buy beef, and people would comment and they would get sent a link and they would buy beef or sign up to our newsletter. So this is what I mean about the nuance of your marketing and what a difference it makes. There's just a couple more. So let's talk about proteins. Was very similar to that one about, is meat really the enemy? It did so well that I posted it again. So inside there, it was like comparing things, like it was 25 grams of protein, and it was all the different things. And 25 grams of protein would be, I think, 4 ounces of steak at 125 calories. My nib is going on my pen. And then the equivalent in quinoa is 6.5 cups, and it's 600 calories. Maybe it was 3.5 cups. I have to go and check. But anyway, it was like so much just to get the same amount of protein. And I can't imagine eating 6.5 cups, and my stomach hurts just thinking about it. So, but it was educating people and giving value. And then on that last page, if you want to buy beef, comment buy beef. This one actually got me, and it continues to get me, sales. It was, do you work out? And the information inside was, did you know red meat has more creatine than a supplement? So if you want to build your muscle, have a pre-workout steak, not a supplement. And then it was also, did you know there's more electrolytes in red meat than there is in Gatorade? So have a post-workout steak and a glass of water. And then there was a picture of me working out, and there was also, if you want to buy beef, buy beef. This guy, he's a construction worker. He just went carnivore, and he ordered a side. Didn't think much of it. And then 6 of his friends ordered sides. So there was then 6 more sides. So there was 7 sides in total. So 3.5 cows worth. And they do that every 3 months. Even now. So every 3 months they buy 3.5 cows worth of beef just from that post. And then this is a static. And again, I'm not selling my meat. I kind of am, but I'm not really. I'm telling people what is the cheapest way to buy beef. And that is my hook. And then I think in the caption, it was comment buy beef to buy my beef. Just to ask Sydney or Katie, if someone's raising their hand to ask a question, do you want me to wait until the end, or do you want me to take them going through? I normally wait until the end, but I'm not sure whether it's something urgent or...
We normally wait to the end too,
Okay.
and I saw that there's a hand up. If you want to use the Q&A, you can type it in there. If you feel like it's too complicated to type out, we can wait until the end, and then we'll call on you then. So
Okay, perfect. I didn't want to think that I was ignoring her. I think we're almost at the end. So before you post, these are things that you need to check. Like, does your text stand out? Like, all of that is it stands out. The hook stands out. It's big, it's bold, it's bright. The hook here stands out. Make sure it stands out. Make sure that whatever you are trying to get across is seen and clear. Is the text hidden on a reel? So when you post your reel, you can actually move that cover page so it fits inside the grid, so that when people look at your grid, your actual profile grid, they can see all the text on those hooks inside reels. And do they even have a good hook? So these are all things you need to ask yourself is, does the text stand out? Is the text being hidden? Do I have a hook? And if Instagram glitches, it glitches all the time. So I'm going to have a drink. My throat's really scratchy. You can delete a reel. So you can delete it and then say delete on both if you post to both Instagram and Facebook. And then don't be scared. It'll then, after you say yes, it'll pop up, move to drafts or delete, and click move to draft. So then just move it to your drafts folder, and then you can repost it. Or what I do is, because I haven't posted it yet, I can download it, and I download it with all my text as it should be. There's no watermark on it yet because it hasn't been posted. And then go back into your reels. Instead of using the video you have, upload the one that you've just downloaded, and then it'll post with no glitches. So that's like a good way to get over those glitches. Instagram isn't instant. You will get frustrated, but I promise you it is worth it. Some people are super lucky and they hit gold in a week or a month. It took me 3 months to get to 1,000 followers, and then we just took off from there. But if you are consistent, and you consistently post, and you're doing your hooks, and you're doing your call to action, and you're talking to those inner questions that your audience has, you will succeed. These are people that I follow. Brock Johnson was great when I first started. Now I find him annoying. But if you're just starting on Instagram, he has some great, simple advice. Maya Nickel is awesome. Lauren Taylor is awesome. Small Business Growth Club is awesome. These are all accounts that I kind of have learned from along the way. Something else I do want to point out here is your ranch account is your ranch account. The algorithm learns from what you post. So if you have kids, amazing. Try not to post them inside your account, because then the algorithm doesn't know whether you're like a mom profile and they need to push your content towards, stay-at-home moms or kids or something, or are they pushing your profile towards meat or ranching. That whatever you post, that's how the algorithm learns from you. So just be careful what you post. It's fine sticking them in stories. It's fine doing the odd one, but just make sure your caption and your call to action is ranch related. But the more you diversify on your profile, the less the algorithm knows where to push you. So the algorithm is what is going to make you successful for free. The other thing I would say is be consistent. So the more you post, the more you grow, though they are making changes to the algorithm to support smaller groups. So the one thing that Instagram says is be consistent. So if you can post twice a week every week, and it's almost like you accrue points. But then if you take a week off, you lose all those points and you've got to start again from zero. So if you're going to commit to posting, schedule things in Meta, make sure that you are consistently posting a minimum of like once or twice a week. More is fine, less is not. And do the same so that the algorithm gets to know you and knows you're creating content, you're using the platform, you're building that community, and it will reward you for that. So these are the things that I do. So Sell Beef Direct, I have so much free material. We have a free Facebook group where we have weekly lives and challenges and advice. There's so much free material in there that will help you. I think I have the link somewhere, but maybe I can email you the link to that, but join that. It's free and there's so much information in there. People keep on telling me they're learning more in my free stuff than they do for courses they've paid for, which is amazing. This is my entry level. This is $67, but it has a mini course inside there all about the nuance of your marketing. I touched on it in here, but it goes into that in a lot more detail. There's also a template of a lot of those Canva templates that I use, you have access to. So instead of having my picture, it's kind of that blank, it looks like a cartoon sun, grass, and blue sky that you would just drop your image into to create it your own. And then it also has a sales guide in there that's going to really teach you how to post on social media. So that's the entry level. I have people who have literally left testimonials saying, we just started Instagram beginning of the month and we've now sold all our pigs, and mini cash cow is what we use. So it's really worth it. If you need more help and hand holding, and social media is kind of where you fall, I did a poll across all my stories and all my groups and all my customers and all the calls that I have, say, like, where do you struggle? What are your pain points? And 90% of it was social media. So this is just social media. There is I think just now it's $397. There's 3 mini courses in there, all targeted to how to use social media, how to market, how to post. There's a 75-page guide bundle. There's guides on hooks, like really get those hooks. And there's a whole heap of templates. And then this is what I launched just last year. And this is Empowering Farmers, and it is everything. It will take you from never ever having sold online to selling out. It's designed to take 6 weeks. There are so many lessons, like identifying your customer is 3 lessons just for that. And that's how you find your leads. There's email marketing in there. There's maximizing yields. There's how to ship. Well, you don't really need how to ship because you all have shop local, which is amazing. But there's so much information in there, and it really is designed to take you from zero to hero. And that's 1897. But I am offering all of you, and it's on the next. So before I get there, so follow me on Instagram. This is my Instagram. This is my website. Super easy to remember. Really log into all that free stuff. But for all of you, you can book a free strategy call. There's links all over the place for that. It's 30 minutes and I will help you. Join my free Facebook group. But I'm also offering everyone on this call or everyone on the Chop Local list a 20% discount on any of my products. You just have to, when you purchase, your discount code is Chop Local. And that, as they say, is that. So questions. My voice is
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a drink.
Okay. So I put a link to the Facebook group in the chat, and I'll just tell everybody while Amy gets a drink. I did a free challenge in the Facebook group last week that was, or 2 weeks ago, maybe now already, but optimizing your Instagram profile, which was really helpful. And then Amy talked a lot, and during that free challenge, it had videos. So Amy, you talked about not really like pushing sales super hard on Instagram, but you talked more about getting people to opt into your email list. Can you go over that just really briefly? And
Sure.
then I guess my question is like, if you are building trust, if you're providing value on Instagram, do you eventually, like, do you sell a little bit on Instagram or do you just really keep that to your email list?
Um, I mean, I guess I sell, but it's not in your face buy my
Yeah.
beef. Like it's giving value. Like it's grazing well-managed cattle are good for the environment. Like, and then it, like a tongue-in-cheek, do you want to save the environment? Eat my beef. Comment buy beef. So that hook and that first page is never sell. So I think what you're asking is driving traffic. So Instagram is so I opened up the question box and now I can't get rid of it and it's on top of my screen. I don't know how to do that. There we go. So Instagram is that funnel. So remember, your funnel is like this and social media is up here. So everything that you do in social media is driving traffic into your funnel. Like you want everyone in here so that they make a sale. So in here is email. And then here is your purchases. So if you're just starting out and you want to build that list, then you would be driving traffic towards an email capture. And pop-ups are good, but I wouldn't rely on a pop-up because if I've been on your website before and I've shut that pop-up, quite often it stores a cookie and I don't see that pop-up again for 30 days. So you cannot rely on just a pop-up to capture email addresses. You need some kind of landing page capture to capture email addresses. If you're using a website in front of Chop Local, then you can create a landing page just for your newsletter. If you're using a more sophisticated web design or web platform, then you could have an unlisted page as a landing page. So it's a link that you give out. So I would have an actual email sign up bar, but not at the bottom of a page. I'd have it at the top of the page, a third of the way down the page, 2/3 of the way down the page, and at the bottom of the page. So while people are scrolling, information, sign up to my newsletter, information, sign up to my newsletter, information. So they're getting hit with newsletter, and they're more likely to give you their email address. I also wouldn't have, first name, last name, phone, email for that sign up because it puts people off. The only one you need is this. You will get their first name and last name when they place an order. Just to capture that lead and to then send them emails, that is all you need.
That's a
And
really good tip. I read a statistic about it recently, like the more fields that you add, the less likely people are to actually fill it out. So I like that.
Yeah, you just need an email, and it can just be super thin, and it's, sign up to my newsletter, email. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so the question that we have typed in here from Elaine sells lamb out of Michigan. Elaine wants to know, how much does it matter if you're following others on Instagram? And I also wonder, like, do you need to be interacting on Instagram with other accounts in order for the algorithm to be like, we really like this account because they spend a lot of time on our app? You know what I mean? Or is that something that I've kind of made up in my mind?
Some people, so I follow quite a few Instagram gurus, and it's kind of split. Some people say you've got to be social on social media, and you do. Like, for example, if you follow a foodie and you're commenting on their stuff, their followers are your customers, if that makes sense. So you do want to kind of start being interactive again to drive traffic to where you want it to go. If you're constantly following farmers and ranchers and commenting on other farms and ranches, that's our industry, but that's not our niche. So I often think we straddle two industries, because yes, we're farmers and ranchers, but other farmers and ranchers are not our customers. Our customers are people who want to buy beef. So we need to make sure that you do follow chefs and follow carnivores and follow health fanatics or things, that so that when you maybe do a collab with them, their followers are your customers. Did that answer the question? Like I once thought, like, when I started Sell Beef Direct and not our ranch page, that I wouldn't follow any musicians, and I wouldn't follow any comedians, and I've kind of come to the opinion that it doesn't matter. It's who you interact with, really. Then it doesn't matter if you follow other accounts, but you do kind of need to be social on social media. Think of it, if you're at the farmer's market, if you're stood at your stall not talking to anyone else, your eyes are front and forward, you're not talking to the veggie guy next to you or the lady who makes soap, you don't look very welcoming, do you? You want to be social, so be social on social media.
That makes sense. I think that that answers it, but Elaine, let us know if not. Um, Cassandra earlier had her hand up, so I'm gonna click allow to talk. If you still have a question, you should be able to now, just for Cassandra, should be able to ask a question.
And Kim asked something saying, where does the search go? There's an overlay on my screen and I can't see it. I wasn't sure what she was meaning.
I didn't know what she meant either. I sent her a message and asked if she found it. So I'm assuming that she probably did at this point. So um I had a question earlier. Gosh, I just took a lot of notes like you did the other night too.
You need a remarkable.
So talk to me about growing your Instagram following. Now, I've been trying to do reels a lot more often, and I am noticing when I go into my insights that reels are seen by like a very small percentage of my followers are seeing reels, and a lot of people that aren't my current followers are seeing reels, which is great. And I'm putting a call to action in there that says like follow for more like this, or follow to learn how to buy from local farmers, or something like that, or comment local,
Yeah.
things like that. But I honestly haven't gotten a ton of interaction on that yet, or a ton of followers. So am I missing something in there?
I'm gonna bring up your Instagram.
You're gonna go look. Okay, great. Just nothing like putting Chop Local on the spot here, right?
Um, so the first thing that hits me is there's no hooks. Like
Okay.
nothing is hooking that audience in. Everything looks good. Like there's pictures of beef. But like that, you've got it's a ribeye with the, I can't remember what you call them. It's not a Thor's hammer, it's the big
Tomahawk. Yeah.
tomahawk. There, it's a tomahawk steak, which is amazing. But that this could be you in your caption, you should put something on the reel. Like it could be, do you want this? Or, can you hear this sizzling? Or, like to capture people into that reel.
So like put
Just
the text on top of so you're saying like put the text on top of the video so it's visual for them, not just a hook in the caption.
yes, because when people are scrolling, like you scroll through your reels,
Mhm.
you're scrolling the reel. You don't stop and open the caption unless something hooks you to. So you don't have to put text all over the screen because that's a beautiful, colorful video. But putting a hook on there would get more people to stop and click into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. And it seems like when you say it out loud, like it seems so obvious to me, like duh. Why didn't I figure that out myself? But that's why we need somebody like Amy to coach us through these things, right, everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I say this all the time. It's not easy, but it's simple. Like there's so much to remember and so much to kind of work through and, working through what hooks work and what hooks don't, that you kind of have to find your audience. But for example, there's, I need to close this again, but there is those internal questions or the hooks, that the subjects that hook people the most are money and health. Like they hook more people than anything else. So if you take money, for example, it's, save money. Whoops, I can't even write today. Save money on your groceries. And you're going to stop the scroll from moms who are trying to feed 2.4 kids. You know what I mean? And then it would be buy fresh from a farmer. It's cheaper than you think. You know what I mean? But if you're trying to like, I don't know, on Chop Local, are you trying to attract farmers to sign up with Chop Local? Or are you just trying to get people to go to Chop Local to choose a farmer to buy beef?
Yeah.
Buy.
So on our Chop Local Instagram, it's all consumers, buyers. Chop Local University is more attract farmers to
Okay.
everything. So yeah, that's one thing. Okay, that leads in perfectly to my next question, which is, you hear the marketing gurus talk about your target audience, and I saw or have heard you mention like you do some posts that appeal to people who are looking for money saving tips, and you do some posts to people who are looking for weight training, like that workout,
Which comes under health. Yeah.
health. Okay, yeah. So do you feel like it works okay to kind of target different almost sub audiences or target customers in each post, but then your profile as a whole is about the benefits of buying beef direct from a farmer?
If you think of like a Venn diagram and you have all these different types of customers like this bit in the middle where they all connect is beef. Make sense? So
Yeah.
this might be money, and this might be, this is a weight. Someone who works out. And this might be someone who is super granola. I'm going to put a cloud in here for the environment. I'm trying to think. And this one, like this one might be someone who really wants to support local, but their commonality is beef or meat. You know what? So you would appeal to them all, because if you just appeal to this one, then you will knock out all the rest. And
Well,
you're
that's what
gonna
I've always felt like. But like I said, I've always heard, you continually hear define your target audience, define your niche, but yeah, a lot of people need or want to eat meat, and
this is
especially at
this is
Shop Local where we work with grass fed and grain finished and the whole
yeah.
gamut. We don't want to get too narrow. We want people who appreciate buying directly from the farmer for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. But like, I think people sometimes take that too literally. Like, I'm not trying to appeal to a high school dropout who is clipping coupons and going to Walmart. They're not my customer. Even though they want to save money and they eat beef, they're not my customer, So I'm only targeting people who can afford that. And I'm not targeting health people who want to be a vegan. I don't want to
Right.
target them. So that your niche is people who want to buy, who eat meat, eat beef, cook something, and that is the commonality. But if you only focus on one avatar or one character trait, you miss out on all the rest. That you're not trying to, like me as a beef ranch, I'm not trying to appeal to someone who buys lamb or someone, like I'm a beef ranch, I sell beef. So all my customers sell beef, whether they are a guy who lives on his own and lifts weight and is a carnivore, or whether she is a mom who has 3 kids and wants to feed them the cheapest, most nutrient dense meat. They're both my customers.
Yeah, I love that. It totally makes sense to me. I don't want this to just be Amy coaching Katie here on, but you must have covered things really well because we haven't had anybody else ask any questions. Cassandra, you can unmute and ask your question if you're still there. Otherwise, if anybody else has any questions, they can go ahead and pop them in there if they want. I'm going to have to go after this. I wrote down the names of those people you said that you follow for Instagram too. So I'm going to have to go follow all of those and get some more tips there.
Yeah.
And I love the idea. I mean, when you're talking about hooks, your static post that you gave examples of really had those hooks on the front. Like, is meat really the enemy? That is gonna draw people in that are wondering that, or that feel that, like, you're right, it's been vilified too much. And then they're gonna click through, like you said. So
Yeah. And don't be, one of our best things is, like, I love the angry vegans. And I know that sounds so wrong, but it's great for engagement. And as long as you stick your ground, you're never rude, you're just giving information. As long they can get as angry as they like, don't let it affect you. But one one surefire way to reach, to extend your reach is if a vegan posts on your page like murderer or don't eat beef, go plant-based. I'm like, no, thank you. And
right.
one of the best posts I've ever done was a plant-based diet may be meat-free, but it is not blood-free. So, and it gets people thinking that, like a plant-based diet kills bees and hummingbirds and foxes and deer and rabbits, and just because you're not eating them doesn't mean they're not dying. So it's like, and that always gets a really good response and gets people talking, which is great for me.
A little bit of controversy there, we'll do that. So
Yeah.
just a couple other comments. Michelle said, not a question, but lots of good information. And Elise said, no questions. Just want to say that this was incredibly insightful. Thank you for all the information. I look forward to following along with you on Facebook and Instagram. You will not regret it, Elise. You will. I know Elise likes this type of thing. She's going to geek out over following
Awesome.
all of Amy's tips. So it's going to be really good. So we are at the hour here. So just remind everybody, sellbeefdirect.com. You get that 20% discount using Chop Local. We're going to put the recording if you want to go back and watch it. Sydney will upload this to YouTube tomorrow. So we will put the recording up there. And of course, we'll send out an email like we always do. Sean just had another Sean up in New York. He's up in upstate New York, says, absolutely great class. Thanks so much. So
awesome.
yes. And Sean does I think it's his wife, does a great job on their Facebook of posting farm content, and it's beautiful, beautiful farm. Some calls to action, Sean. Some calls to action would be helpful for you. Okay.
I just want to finish with something that I read a lot about recently is that you may sound redundant and you may feel like you're repeating yourself, but you cannot assume that everyone on your Facebook or Instagram sees your posts, that it's such a small percentage. Like, I think it's less than 20%. So repeat that call to action in every single thing that you do. Like, never forget the call to action, because people either they don't read or they literally have not seen it. So you will get bored of your content before other people do.
Yep, totally agree. Okay, awesome, Amy. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
That was fun. Thank you for having me. And I'm so happy we met. That was awesome.
I know. That's one of, I think I said this the other night, and you probably feel the same way, but one of the best things about like what we get to do is meet with all of these farmers that have like viewpoints and, just get to know them all over the country, or in your case, you work with people all over the world, English speaking all over the world. So, it's just amazing to see everybody's journey. And I know you feel the same way that we do when you see them having success because they're putting these things into action. Like that's the ultimate best thing. So
It
love it.
is, for sure. Well, thank you so much. And I hope to hear from everyone soon. Sign up to the free group and hopefully claim your 20% discount.
Awesome. All right. Have a good night, everybody.